So once again, the college football picks and NFL picks against the spread will all be on one video, just so it's easy for everybody. It's probably going to be that way for the rest of the season. So let's get right into it. Last week for college football, 3-2, pretty solid. Last week for NFL, 3-1. That is tied for my best record of the season. But I'm a little bit nervous going into these picks because the last time I went 3-1 in NFL, I went 0-4 the next week. So I'm really hoping to avoid that. Even getting one this week would feel like an accomplishment. And I would foreshadow what my picks are this week by saying that this is going to either end really good or really bad. I'm taking a huge risk with picks this week. You'll know why it's kind of a big risk if you think about it. So it's either going to end really good or it's going to end really bad. I don't think it's going to be in between. I feel like we're either going to go about 4-1 or 5-0 for college or 0-5. We're either going to go 4-0 for NFL or even 0-4. So there's really no in between here. So let's get started with the picks this week. Let's start off with college football week 10. First pick, Iowa plus 2.5 over Purdue. Iowa probably should have won last week against Penn State. I feel like they beat themselves in that game. And Purdue, they kind of looked flat last week against Michigan State after coming off that emotional victory over Ohio State in their biggest school win, well, their biggest win in school history. And I think Iowa is going to play the chip on their shoulder this week. I think they realize that there is still some season left to salvage for the Hawkeyes, and I think they will beat Purdue in this matchup. I feel like Purdue could be a one-hit wonder team, that one hit just being beating Ohio State. So Iowa plus 2.5 is my first pick. Second pick this week, Syracuse minus 6 over Wake Forest. Syracuse is not that bad of a team. They're a pretty underrated team right now. Right now, probably the most underrated team in college football. Their only loss is to Clemson, only by a couple of points. And they could have beaten that game. They could have won. They could have beaten Clemson in that game, and they kind of beat themselves in that one. And Wake Forest, I just feel like they're not that good of a team. They've gotten blown out by Clemson and Notre Dame with backed-up quarterbacks in their matchups. So Syracuse minus 6, I feel like this is definitely a lock, led by Eric Dungy for the Syracuse Orange. Syracuse gets another win and stays in the top 25. Third pick, West Virginia plus 2 over Texas. West Virginia's coming off their bye week after they got blown out by Iowa State on the road. And they're going to Texas this week. And I feel like that this isn't going to go well for the Longhorns. I feel like last week's loss against Oklahoma State is still in the back of their minds. And West Virginia is well rested. West Virginia plus 2, my third pick of the week, locking it in. Fourth pick, Virginia Tech plus 2 over Boston College. I feel like Virginia Tech, we don't really talk about Virginia Tech this season anymore because of them losing to Old Dominion with a backup quarterback. But I feel like Virginia Tech being in Lane Stadium, I feel like they're going to be able to pull off this upset over Boston College. I don't think Boston College is that good of a team. Boston College did lose to Purdue. Well, in fact, Purdue has beaten 2 top 25 teams, so maybe I'm overthinking it. But Virginia Tech plus 2, this is kind of a risk pick, because I think Virginia Tech will win this game outright and pull off the upset. So, final pick, Northwestern plus 9.5 over Notre Dame, and you saw my picks this week. I think Northwestern wins this game outright. I feel like Northwestern's not that bad of a team at all. You probably get overshadowed by the fact they started off 1-2 this season. And we don't really talk about Northwestern, but Northwestern's coming off a big victory over Wisconsin. I think they're going to carry that momentum, and they're going to pull off the upset over the Irish. I feel like that senior leadership in Clayton Thorson, you may have the mentality of you're not going to go to the college football playoff, you're not going to compete for national championship, but you can spoil somebody else's. And I think that is what a senior quarterback like Clayton Thorson has dreamed about his entire college career. Spoiling a top team's chances of going to a national championship game or even a college football playoff. And I think that's what happens, and the Wildcats win outright. So those are my college football picks into the spread this week. Let's go on to the NFL, and kind of the same theme. As a quick recap, I got 4 underdogs and 1 favorite. So for NFL, that trend will continue. As my first pick, the New York Jets plus 3 over the Miami Dolphins. Ryan Tannehill was ruled out in this game. I think the Jets have gotten a little bit better ever since that loss in week 2 to the Miami Dolphins. And the Dolphins look kind of different right now. It looks like it's going to be Brock Osweiler starting at quarterback for the Dolphins. And next pick, Chicago Bears -10 over the Buffalo Bills. Nathan Peterman's getting the start at quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, and this is probably not going to go well. It usually hasn't gone well when the Bills have started Nathan Peterman. I feel like this could be an easy pick. I don't want to say any pick's going to be easy because really no pick is easy in this type of game. But I think the Bears at -10. I feel like that is a safe bet of the week, considering that the Bears are coming off a pretty decent win, and the Bills are coming off kind of at a low point in the season. Although we say the same thing every time. Every time the Bills are kind of a massive underdog, they end up pulling out an upset and winning outright. And that's a thing to be worried about. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think the Vikings are the same as the Bears. And I don't think that, well, the Bears are the same as the Vikings. I don't think the Bears are the same as the Titans. Because the Titans are struggling right now. The Vikings are somewhat struggling right now. The Bears, they did have that fluky loss to the Dolphins. But they came close against the Patriots. And they're coming off a win this past week. And I'm going to go with Chicago -10, locking it in. Third pick, the Los Angeles Chargers +1.5 over the Seattle Seahawks. Last week was a game where Russell Wilson had to put the team on his back, and that's what he did. But I don't think it's going to work this week. The Chargers are coming off a bye week. I know some teams come off rusty after a bye week and they have to travel. But I just feel like that Seattle offensive line, I'm still not sold on it. And I feel like that Chargers front seven is going to easily get to Russell Wilson pretty easily in this game. So the Chargers +1.5, that's my third pick of the week against the spread, locking it in. And the final pick, the Houston Texans +1 over the Denver Broncos. The Texans are on a hot streak. They've won 5 in a row, but now they have to go to Mile High and compete against the Broncos. And I feel like the Texans should come out with a win on. I have the Texans winning this game straight up and against the spread. I think they win this game outright. I just feel like the Texans are on a winning streak, and they did trade for Demaryius Thomas, and that is a solid number 2 wide receiver to have, with Will Fuller being out for the season, and the former Denver Bronco. So, wouldn't surprise if Demaryius Thomas had an emotional type of game, or he had like maybe 2 touchdowns in that. So those are my picks against the spread this week. We've got 3 underdogs and 1 favorite for NFL. So, in total, we've got 7 underdogs. Well, yes, we've got 7 underdogs and 2 favorites this week put together. So those are Johnny's picks.